Hello, everyone, and welcome. It's Aaron St. Denis at FFMadScientist, joined by Jeremy Shulman at FF_Rebel and Jesse Moeller at JMoeller05. This is the Fantasy Football Universe. Hello, everyone. Today we have something I thought was extinct. Is that a running back? That's a running back. Jonathon Brooks, that's a running back, right? They do exist.
They do. Yeah, I was going to say the exact same thing. They do exist.
Yeah, but they don't matter, so it's okay.
Oh, gosh, my heart hurts my heart every time. As a former running back, I'm like, fuck.
All right. Well, this is the exclusive sneak peek of a running back. Jonathon Brooks, 4-star recruit out of Hallettsville, Texas. If you want to check out the full write-up, head over to fantasyfootballuniverse.com. This one was done by Jesse, I believe. Jesse?
Yep.
Sound about right? Oh, I see how it is. We finally got a running back, and you made sure to do it yourself.
I was like, oh, we're covering running backs? Count me in. I'll do
running back stealing some bitch. During his freshman year, I don't know what that's supposed to say, but Brooks played in only 4 games and made 6 catches for a total of 72 yards. According to the rules, he didn't have to burn his eligibility, so he was redshirted. You forgot 2 words.
I did not take Rome's name out. It's supposed to say Brooks instead of Rome. I don't know why.
Yep, I see that.
Looking at it, I was like, oh my gosh.
I looked at it, I was like, what the hell is that? Oh, okay. So this is not Rome Odunze. It is Jonathon Brooks. Sorry about that. During his first 2 seasons at Texas, he was behind one of the most highly touted running back prospects of our generation, Bijan Robinson. Heard of him? I think you've heard of him.
I think so. I think that guy's pretty good. I don't know.
Yeah, so as expected, he redshirted during that year after 4 games, and however, his role did not grow much during his sophomore year because I can't speak, resulting in Brooks having a complimentary role once again. Also, like I said, we've got Bijan there, we've got Roschon Johnson, they've got a whole bunch of running backs. So he had a total of 54 touches, 389 yards, and 7 touchdowns in his first 2 years. That happens. It's not looking positive for our first running back here, guys. In 2023, Brooks had the opportunity to start, and he made the most of it. In 11 games, he rushed for 1,139 yards on 187 attempts and scored 10 touchdowns. He was also a good receiver, catching 25 passes for 286 and a touchdown. Brooks was recognized with second-team Big 12 honors and was a finalist for the Doak Walker Award, which is awarded to the best running back in the country. Now we get to what's, made him fall this far. He probably would have been much, much higher if it weren't for injury concerns. Brooks suffered a torn ACL in November, which means that he will not be participating in any of these pre-draft events. However, he's expected to recover in time to play as a rookie since there's enough time between the start of the season and his injury. PFF has Brooks as the RB1 in the class. Despite his injuries, he is also my RB1. He could be he has a true 3-down skill set and will be a valuable addition to any running back room. Where do you want to start there, Jesse?
That sums it up pretty much. It's like if we did not have the injury, he would be the easily RB1 in the class. We'd be talking about him more. But because of the injury, he kind of gets lost in the shuffle of the process. Like we don't get any the talk of when he's working out. You don't see any videos. You don't see anything associated with him this time because he's recovering from an ACL injury. So he's going to be a bit forgotten about by most people just because they're looking at players who are playing in the Senior Bowl and stuff like that. So it does suck for him. But overall, he's a good running back. He can do basically everything you want from a running back. It's just as far as his skill set, it will transition very well to the NFL. There are some concerns. I don't think he has the elite traits. And that's the one issue I have with him as a player. There's nothing that he does where you're like, oh my gosh, that's incredible. It's a lot of very good stuff. So when you put it all together, you get this back who can basically play 3 downs, do everything for you. It's just, he's not going to get drafted high on top of that with injury.
He is a big dude, though. 6 foot, which is 76th percentile, 202, 20th percentile, and he is a sophomore because of redshirt eligibility and 20.6 years old. What did you think of him, Jeremy?
He looks like the long-lost Cook brother to form the triplet, right? He runs like Dalvin, look like James, right? So he's just, doing his best impression of these guys. It's not as clean as those two running backs, but most Hollywood brothers, if you think about it, the third brother is like some sort of like outcast reject, like
You
a
got
lower
me over
tier
here.
guy.
You got me
So-
over here giggling to myself. You know how many times during the season I Googled James Cook picture just for a graphic? You know what comes up when you type James Cook picture? It's a pirate. That's what comes up. James Cook the pirate comes up.
He started making his impression on Google when he started doing good. You saw his name probably pop up to the top. I was like, we finally reached it.
It's not a pirate now as the top search. A couple of good games in Buffalo, and a pirate doesn't exist.
So this is the Costco James Cook version here.
That's not reassuring.
Yeah, I think he's a more complete back than James Cook was coming out. Like he just doesn't have the explosiveness that James Cook has in the open field. Like the biggest thing I was impressed with was his vision. He sets up stuff very well, and even though he doesn't have this explosive element, he breaks tackles really well because his vision sets him up to make the angle and take it away from him. So that's the thing that came away most impressed watching his tape. Like his vision's very good to me.
Yeah, he's also got really, really nice hands out of the backfield. Like just the way it's just so fluid the way he catches the ball. So I'll be excited to see what that looks like throughout the process and how teams value it. And I think it'll make a big difference where he goes.
Bear with me for a sec here. As you can see from the graphic disappearing, my computer decided to just have an absolute stroke in the middle of this, and I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, the whole window just shut down. We're back now, but all of a sudden, that window just closed, and I don't know why. But so some of his strengths here. Quick feet allow him to accelerate to second and third levels. He's a plus receiver in the passing game. As a runner, he excels in space and uses body control to erase angles on defenders. The player has plus vision that allows him to recognize and set up holes for bigger plays in the run game. Despite having a slighter frame, he remains capable pass blocker and plays bigger than his weight and will initiate contact. What was his biggest strength for you, Jesse?
It's the multiple things. It's the vision, which he uses to pair with his ability, because that first initial juke is good where he sets it up. So it's just more like you see kind of in the open space, he gets a little lost because he's trying to do a little too much. And those players are faster, so it's harder. But in the initial hole, like using his vision and using those jukes, he's very good at that. So that stands out to me. And the open field, not as much, but he can get to the second level and third level because of that.
Yeah, kind of the same thing for me. Like I started with the Oklahoma game, and I think it was the first play. He was dancing too much behind the line. I was like, oh, here we go. And then that didn't really show up for the rest of the game, right? He was making nice cuts. So I was a little concerned that he was being too shifty and too cute. Wasn't the case. I was happy to see him kind of get north-south when he could. And it didn't seem like that was much of an issue as I initially thought.
All right. Well, we will get into some of those issues. Due to his upright running style, he can lose pad level from time to time, lacks true home run ability, and can be caught from behind. He lacks the physical strength needed to consistently overpower defenders. Although he is a good all-around player, he lacks exceptional abilities, and the ACL injury is going to be a concern. What stood out most as the weakness here to worry you, Jesse?
There's no one true elite trait. So when teams are trying to draft players, they're looking for these home run abilities or elite traits that stand out. Like this guy is exceptional at this one thing. And I don't think it's kind of similar to David Montgomery coming out. Like when you saw that graphic, it's had the body of Saquon as that. Like he has a lot of traits that are good, but nothing that stands out. You're like, this is his pinnacle. This is what he does very well. Separates him from everyone else. He kind of can get lost in the shuffle if he's in a good running back room because there's going to be guys that offer the same skill set as him. But overall, he's an NFL capable running back. So I think he's just limited from, the ceiling perspective. I guess best way to describe it.
How about you, Jeremy?
Yeah, it's the ACL. When I was watching him, look, he's not on this level at all, but got a little bit of Alvin Kamara vibes just with how shifty he was and able to avoid big hits. Both out in space and kind of around the line. And if the ACL is going to sap some of that, which it likely will, you hope it gets back to 100%, but certainly in his first year, likely not. So that could be a big concern for him and his value, both in reality and in fantasy, through all of next year.
That was the biggest concern for me as well. And they usually don't get back to full speed till their second year post ACL, which transitions into the next part, the pre-draft, because I have him going probably end of second, early third. I have him going to either Dallas, Green Bay, Baltimore type, Dallas, Green Bay for sure, where he's probably going to sit a year behind someone, which could be beneficial because he could learn a bit, he could get a little work in, and then by the time maybe they move on from Pollard or Jones the following year, he's back to full speed and gets essentially a rookie year. Jesse has him here as day 2 to the Cowboys, so you agree. Pick 87. I don't know if I have him around. I think that's exactly where I have him, but I'm kind of on the borderline here. I don't know if a running back goes in round 2. He's teetering on the 2-3 borderline for me. Obviously, you agree, but what are your thoughts on this one here?
So it's interesting. I've heard people comp him to the Cowboys, and his skill set actually makes a lot of sense with the offense they run. Like, he could work in zone schemes. He could also work in gap and power. So, like, I think he's very much a chameleon in that aspect. He has traits that he can play in a lot of different schemes as a running back, which is nice. I think his best scheme is his own. So if he goes to a team that has his own scheme, that's going to accent his skill set the best. But yeah, like the Cowboys, he basically would be stepping in for Pollard, and Pollard was super inefficient last year. If he's back to who he was as a player, I think he can actually outproduce Pollard. I don't know what happened with Pollard last year, if that was the injury or what it was, but it's kind of similar to the same issue like we saw with Pollard. Like, coming off the injury, is he the player we hoped he was? If he is, I'll be excited for him. So I kind of want to wait and see how that works out for him.
Are you thinking he's going to Dallas to sit behind Pollard or work with Pollard for a year, or is Pollard gone?
I think they're probably not going to resign Pollard, depending on who he wants, unless he comes back for really cheap, which he might, because the market might not be there on him. So ideally, I think they would pair him up with an older back and let him recover and rest up.
Pollard's 27?
Yeah, Pollard's going to be 27 this year, which is crazy, right? Like, you don't think he's old, but he's the market might not be there because he had the chance this year and he didn't. So yeah, they could be the 1-2 punch, and he comes down the second half of the year as he's fully, like, regains his strength and all of his skills. So it would be a good situation because that's one of the better offenses in the NFL.
What do you got, Jeremy?
Yeah, I think, look, you're taking the Texas boy and you're keeping him in Texas. What might be interesting, and I realize I don't have the exact data here. I thought I did, but it would be interesting if he stays in Texas but doesn't go to Dallas, instead goes to the Houston Texans. That would be a really nice fit. Devin Singletary, we know, is not an elite back. They've fallen out of favor with the guy whose name I can't even remember right now because he's Pierce, because Pierce is irrelevant at this point for fantasy, right? So that would be really interesting. Just kind of round out that offense. The Rams also pick a few picks earlier at 83. Kyren Williams, that workload is too much for him. Like, we love it for fantasy, but for reality, he could break down a little bit. And, depending on how many picks the Rams have before that 3rd round pick, which, historically is 0, I'm not sure that they're going to spend it on another running back. But if they have a few at 83, could be really interesting for Brooks there to pair with Kyren.
So if you're wondering why everyone is so down on this running back class, just remember, this is the consensus RB1 right now. That's all you need to know. It's not getting any better than this. We have a potential backup running back coming off an ACL injury. Good luck if you needed a running back. That is the 2024 rookie sneak peek of Jonathon Brooks, Texas running back. For Aaron, Jeremy, and Jesse, thank you all for tuning into the Fantasy Football Universe. Head over to the website, fantasyfootballuniverse.com, or check back on our YouTube channel tomorrow. Take care, everyone, and have a great day.